Hello and welcome to our Gold Delegates. I'm Fiona Lang-Sharp, IBCLC Public Relations Manager and MC for Gold Learning. Well, welcome everyone. Today I have the pleasure of sitting down with Joy MacTavish once again as we talk about her upcoming presentation at our Gold Lactation 2017 conference. She is going to be talking about mindful breastfeeding, how lactation professionals can support calm and connection. Welcome, Joy. It's great to have you back here today.
Thanks so much for having me, Fiona. I'm excited to be here.
Well, first of all, I'm curious a little bit about what's happening in your life right now. And so perhaps you want to tell our audience, what does it look like in Joy MacTavish's life on a day-to-day basis? Are you practicing, teaching? What's going on?
Yes, all of those things. I have a very busy and full life, which I love. And I own a business called Sound Beginnings in the greater Seattle area. We do in-home lactation consultations and baby wearing consultations and a variety of other family coaching and family support services by phone and in person in clients' homes. And we have a small team of amazing IBCLCs and family support professionals that I'm really excited to have brought together. This has been kind of my goal for the last year and a half or so, and it finally came to fruition last fall, and so it's been going really well. And I'm excited to be using some of my time and my energy to be doing that. And then I see my own clients as part of that business. So I usually see a number of clients each week. I have a good mix of new clients and then follow up. And then I also do some phone support and some phone coaching for a variety of things, including um, g- pr- eh, pumping and return to work preparations and starting solids. And more recently, I've started doing elimination communication and gentle potty training and some sleep
Wow.
support for clients. So things that we just knew that there was a need for in our community, and my goal is just that the Sound Beginnings team and myself, can help kind of fill those needs. And so, and then I have a 3.5-year-old who keeps me super busy as well, uh, and makes my life even more full. And his question is, every morning is today a consult day, or is it today the day that we can go to a park, or is today the day that
Oh.
we get to spend together? So I try to have a good balance between work and parenting.
Hmm.
And so, yeah, that's kind of what my practice is looking like these days.
Oh,
Still doing
wow.
some prenatal breastfeeding classes, which I love to
Yeah,
teach,
of course.
and hoping to do some more community groups and classes later in the year.
Oh, fantastic. I was just going to say, just hearing all the different things that you're doing and then, balancing that with your little one, that's a talk right there. You know that,
Yes.
right? You could you
Right.
could present on
2018.
that.
Work-life balance, right?
Yeah, I think you need to put an abstract in for that one. That's wonderful. No, it's great to hear you. It's great to hear your voice again. I know you were here with us last year for our 10th anniversary. This is our 11th anniversary, by the way. I forgot to mention that at the top of this interview, but it's our 11th year this year. Very excited, again, and it's great. Of course, you're presenting twice with us as well, and that if you haven't heard Joy's other interview, it's on the YouTube channel too. So go ahead and listen to that one. That's all about doing reports, which is also going to be a great talk. But let's talk about this one now. This one for me, I said to you earlier when we were talking privately, this is the first time I've heard mindful breastfeeding. Now, I feel like I would be familiar, with in terms of what it is, mindfulness, but actually seeing it in practice or putting it into practice, not familiar with that yet. I can't wait to hear more, but tell me a little bit about you know, what you're doing in terms of like, or tell me when you became interested in mindfulness yourself, like just as a standalone, and then tell me when you started perhaps using it in your practice and what the results have been.
Yeah, so I, kind of discovered or heard about this idea of mindfulness or meditation or mindful meditation years ago when I was working on my undergrad in college, and I was working outside of school for, for income and going to school and very busy. And I'm always, anybody that knows me knows that I'm always very busy. And for me, mindfulness was intriguing. This idea of being able to slow down and being able to kind of pay attention and be aware um, of kind of some of the thoughts and the things that kind of arise in our bodies or in our
Right.
emotions, and how we can be a little bit more self-reflective around those things, and then how we can help to kind of use some of those practices to help inform how we live. And so for me, it was something that I had kind of heard about and studied a little bit, but it wasn't really until I was pregnant that I really it became kind of more a part of my formal kind of that I had a formal meditative practice. And so
Mm.
I had done some in-person trainings, and then uh, while I was pregnant, I did some kind of more formal trainings. And then once I had my son, we did a group called Listening Mothers, which is a really great program that incorporates mindfulness into the transition to motherhood. And that was such a powerful experience for me because it was really about this idea of kind of non judgment and self compassion, and how can we take care of ourselves so that we can take care of our little ones and those around us. And so that was just really eye-opening for me, to think about it in a different way. And then I went on to take a 8-week course for mindful self-compassion, and those actually have been critical to my stress level and my kind of day-to-day life, being able to incorporate small moments of mindfulness. That feel like I can kind of sustain that versus kind of
Right.
sitting down for 20, 30 minutes to meditate
Yeah.
doesn't always fit into my day. But small moments of mindfulness, peppered throughout my day, has been really, really impactful for me. So I feel like, I can't imagine, my life without some mindfulness, even though I don't necessarily get time every day to sit and meditate.
Sure.
So I'm excited to share during my talk about kind of some of those differences, and how, it's not always kind of sitting and meditating for, half an hour. We're not trying to tell our
Right.
clients that they have to have some, attain some um,
Mhm.
minimum number to get the benefits, but that it can be incorporated in different ways, depending on the needs of whoever is interested in it.
Excellent. So when you're teaching, so I'm full of questions for you about this
Mhm.
topic, but I want to know, are you finding that, I'm imagining now we're going in to see a mom who this is postpartum. And it's a very challenging time, Joy. We don't generally get calls from happy mummies, right? So, and so I'm going in to see this mum, and she just wants me to fix it. Let's face it, that's what she called me for. However, we know that it's much bigger than that, right? You can't just jump in and fix it. How responsive have mums been to this? Have you had opportunities to engage with them about this mindfulness in breastfeeding? Is it you feel like it's making a difference? Do some people just close off to it? What's been your experience so far?
I think the whole range has been my experience. I think some people,
Mm.
I usually try to talk about it without labeling it at first. So I talk about
Sure.
how I try to get my clients um, to begin to do some of the things that can be helpful in and that can be connected to mindfulness, without actually saying, and now we're going to do some mindfulness. I think that instead I just
Right.
say, you know, maybe while your baby latches on, take some deep breaths, and then
Right.
they can kind of work through that. And then I say, and now let's see if there's any way that we can get your body even more comfortable. And now let's see if you can kind of relax even more deeply into your bed or your couch or wherever they're sitting.
Yeah.
And so some of that kind of describing and then modeling and then helping them um, embrace those things. And then sometimes I'll say, have you ever heard about mindfulness? Some of the things that you are already doing, can be considered mindfulness. And some of these things that you can try to incorporate into your nursing relationship or into your day-to-day life, could fall under the idea of mindfulness and kind of plant
Right.
that seed.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
then I
that's
just and then I
great.
just watch for their responses. Some people are like,
Sure.
"Oh, yeah, that's great." And I find in my client population, a lot of people are have heard the terms, are aware of it, are interested in it, or have practiced themselves. But I do sometimes get people that are closed off and just say like, "No,
Sure.
that's not for me." So then it's just
Right.
about kind of about comfort and about ease and about kind of,
Yes.
making it as, and a little bit of self-reflection maybe rather than saying
Yeah.
mindfulness. But yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's great. And yeah, of course, I now I'm reflectively listening and notice, thinking about how I would practice and some of the things of course I say to clients as well. So yeah, no, that's really great. It's wonderful to hear that and I can see that but if you flip the switch to prenatally, it opens up a huge door of encouragement and talking a little bit more perhaps about this. Have you been able to incorporate into prenatal classes yet?
I have. I usually kind of mention it when we're talking about, latch and positioning. I often kind of incorporate some of those same,
Sure.
phrases or ideas.
Yep.
In that, I often, talk about the role of partners because most of my classes are couples. If there's a partner involved in the family, then usually they attend together. And so I often try to help kind of use some phrases and use some things that then can be taken back to the postpartum time and
Right.
incorporated as needed. And so some of those things about kind of, our hope is that everybody will find comfort. Our hope is that, you will feel ease in this, that you can bring some awareness to what your body's experiencing. If you're feeling, big emotions around this, that you can kind of note that and and then kind of do with it as what you feel like you need to. A lot of mindfulness is just about that non-judgmental awareness and just being aware
Right.
of those sensations and thoughts
Yeah.
and feelings. um, so some of it's just kind of, um, trying to bridge some of kind of our more analytical, our being, lactation consultants, our being,
Sure.
new parents, everybody's kind of analytical nature of kind of how do I fix this or make this better with a little bit of that kind of, oh, this is what's going on with me, with my body, with my baby. And so I think that planting those seeds prenatally can say kind of that this is a way that you can find some ease, or this is a way that that how that the fact that even just taking some breaths before you sit down, when you sit down before you try to get a good nursing session in, can be helpful. And I don't usually go into the psychobiology
No.
or the any of the any of the
Sure.
more meta level things. But I think just planting that kind of, these are practices that can be helpful, that are, our mind and body are connected. I think that folks know that, but I think sometimes saying that in a prenatal class can be
Yeah.
helpful for them to hear.
No, that's wonderful. Yeah. No, that's really great to hear. I'm definitely looking forward to hearing more of, what it looks like for you during our presentation. And again, hearing some of the responses from our delegates. It'll be great to hear if people are using this, if it's used in other countries more or less. I mean it more or less, and depending on cultures, of course, because
Yes,
that's going to make a difference as well.
yes.
So, yeah, this is a fantastic topic. So lastly, before I let you go, what are you looking forward to just sharing with our audience? What's the most special thing that you've discovered in mindfulness?
I think really just making a distinction between this kind of formal practice and sometimes what our stereotypical view of someone who meditates or somebody who is mindful,
Mm,
and the idea of informal practices and small things that we can be doing. I think that's really the biggest, most profound thing for me, and that's something that I'd
right.
like the delegates to take away, that there are small ways that we can incorporate some of this into our own practice and the phrases that we use with our clients that may be beneficial to them to be able to kind of share, and they can incorporate into their breastfeeding relationship however they feel like it would be helpful.
Well, that sounds fantastic. I can't wait to hear more. And of course, this is Joy MacTavish. She's going to be speaking at our upcoming conference. Can't wait to hear you again. Not only this topic, mindful breastfeeding, but also your other topic as well, sending reports, what it's in it for IBCLCs. So we'll look forward to seeing you on both of those days too. This particular topic is going to be on Monday, the 24th. Go to our website, however, goldlactation.com to find out what is your local time for listening, and we'll look forward to having you all there live. Thank you again, Joy, for sitting down and chatting with us today. It's been wonderful hearing from you.
Thanks so much, Fiona.